What's up, and welcome to another episode of the Grind Line Podcast. You're listening to episode 246. I am your host, Greg. I'm here tonight with Ryan, and we are, let's see, what is it, T minus 3 days from Red
Yeah.
Wings hockey? Is that what it is?
One
It'll be
day
2
from
days.
NHL hockey official.
Yeah, from the start of the season. If you have not set your fantasy lineups, do that now because you're about to be
That's a
screwed.
good call.
You're going to be screwed here pretty quick. But Ryan, how are you doing today? We have a packed show, so we're going to
We
get
do.
pleasantries out of the way before we jump into it. But how you doing?
No, I'm pumped. I was just mentioning to you, I got a jersey in at Vintage Detroit, which took them like all of 3 hours to get customized. Gonna pick that up probably when Tyler's in town Thursday because he's on a road trip apparently for work right now. But yeah, no, it's an exciting week. I get to see a lot of fun faces. Doing probably Cookout Friday, which I'll hit you up on what's going on with that. But yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, I took Friday off of work.
Oh, you
So we'll
did?
see. Yeah, we'll see what I needed to take time because I only get like 80 hours of vacation rollover. So
Oh,
I had to
okay.
bump myself down to 80 hours. So this Friday was one of the days I took.
Well,
So,
fun fact, I'm planning on probably doing a bacon wrapped pork loin.
oh, you son of a bitch.
So just throwing that out there.
All right. Well, let's see what happens with Lily in school because she had to be picked up from school today
Ooh.
because she was complaining of a sore throat. So we will see
Oh.
what happens with her going forward. But like I said, yeah, I know, to be determined. But we have a massive show. I say massive show, and we're gonna still try to get everything in an hour
Yeah, we'll be
because
all right.
yeah, we know people listen to us like driving to work and stuff. And if you're
Thanks,
driving
Pete.
more than an hour to work, I'm very sorry. So we're going to start off the top with some piece of news that we missed initially, and I don't know how we missed it.
I thought we had talked about it, but that tells you I don't also pay that much attention. So
Yeah, news flash. But I think it got caught up in all of the training camp stuff. The Board of Governors, when they met in New York, Bettman says very preliminary projections of salary cap for 2024-25 is 87 to 88 million. And the only reason that I'm mentioning this is because contracts got signed recently and they were pretty big. So that is what's a 5 million jump from what we're currently at. We're
we're at
82 and a half. 82 and a half.
83.5 is the upper.
Okay, so 83 and a half. So that is like a 4.5. No, it's a $3.5 to $4.5 million jump.
Which is about what we thought it would be. They said, I think the rumor was what, 87.5?
Yeah, I thought it might be closer to a 5 million jump, and it'll be an even bigger one in the 25-26 season. But it's a decent jump for having a stagnant cap for so long, and that should mean the escrow is completely paid off. But the reason that we're mentioning it is because the Winnipeg Jets today decided to extend Mark Scheifele and Collar Hellebuck to identical 7-year extensions with 8.5 million AAVs, which the money is okay for Connor Hellebuck. I didn't run Evolving Wilds calculator on Scheifele, so I'm going to do that while you talk about this. But I think that term for both of them is too long.
I get the reasoning. I mean, you got to think that I said it right beforehand. It's roughly a $2.4 million raise for both of them going over the next several years. And in hindsight, I guess that doesn't really impact you too much with a cap jumping roughly 4 million. But that's going to take both of them to their age 37, 38 season. You know that based on everything you can look at in terms of analytics and what happens with especially skaters, Scheifele is likely going to be trending downwards. Will he be? I don't know. Is he still an all-around solid player? Yes. He's an alternate captain. He's a center. I mean, he put up last season 68 points over 81 games. I think for a career, he's just shy of a point per game player. And the last couple of years, he's actually been at a point per game or above going back to 16, 17. So I mean, you've locked that down for yourself. And it's fantastic. You've locked down one of the top goaltenders in hockey for the next 7 years. You got to hope that maybe he takes the Marc-Andre Fleury route and stays healthy, maintains a high level of play, and it don't drop off. And what ends up happening for you overall is now you've got guys like Gabe Velarde, who you just brought in, that can build off those guys. Rasmus Kupari, hopefully can get more out of him. Cole Perfetti, just 21, getting ready to go in his RFA years. You've got a base there, and they've still got a solid decor with Josh Morrissey, 28. Nate Schmidt is the elder statesman with Brendan Dillon at 32, all paid decently well. I mean, most your big players, I should say, are locked in over the next several years. So it does give them some flexibility, but I don't know. It's shocking, but I don't think it is going to ultimately hurt them. We'll see.
Yeah, so I pulled the numbers while you were talking. Mark Scheifele had a predicted 8-year at 9.093, and
Okay.
Connor Hellebuck with an 8-year at 9.064. So
That
you
was
got,
the one we had talked
yeah,
about quite a bit.
yeah, Hellebuck, because he's going to be like 38 by the end of this, unless they trade him, this will be the rest of his career, and probably the same thing with Scheifele,
Totally.
which is okay. I just don't understand why they'd want to do that in Winnipeg because, the Jets, you've got to live in the frigid tundra that is Winnipeg. But they've been there for a while. And again, you lock up like you said, one of the best net minders in the league who has a sweet
Mhm.
pirate mustache. And you lock up Mark Scheifele, who has been, I'm pretty sure he's worn a letter since he got there. And I mean, he's a leader of that team.
Yeah.
So not bad.
I mean, the big thing with Hellebuck, you look at him, and Scheifele's been there as well during this. I mean, Hellebuck's led them in his 8 years of actually having stats with this team to 5 different playoff appearances. Now, that hasn't meant all the greatest things. They had 1 year where where did they get in 17, 18? I don't have that pulled up exactly, but I mean, you're banking on that to continue at this point. I mean, they've got a team that seems to always kind of be there in terms of playoff contention or not playoff, but Stanley Cup contention. So if that's what you can have moving forward, you're set. I mean, you look at his save percentage since 2015-16, his lowest save percentage year was a 907 in 16-17. Now, you translate to the playoffs. Last year was his worst year by far with an 886, but he translates his solid regular season performance into the playoffs. So if you've got a team, especially if you can bring in some additional young talent, I'm not saying that it's a stretch, but they could probably make something happen there. And plus, you got young guys like Colby Barlow, Brad Lambert, Chaz Lucius, all on ELCs, and they're not currently. I think they're AHL and junior, but Barlow got sent back to juniors, so they've got some young, solid forwards out there. So long term. This could actually probably work out pretty well for him.
Yeah, Scheifele career overall. I mean, he only has he came into the league in 2012, 2013. He played 4 NHL games, but then he has only had 3 full seasons where he didn't wear a letter. Then he's been the assistant ever since, or the alternate ever since 2016, 2017. And he was drafted, I mean, round 1, number 7 overall by the Jets. So it looks like he will be a Jet for life unless
Mhm.
they trade him toward the end of that contract.
Yeah,
Another big signing in the NHL today, Buffalo Sabres inked
huge.
Rasmus Dahlin to an 8-year, $11 million contract, which is an
For
absolute
reference, he's making
monster.
6 million right now.
Yeah, it's an absolute monster contract. But Dahlin is turning out to be one of the better defensemen in the league. I'd say he's probably top 10 right now. And it's the offensive numbers, I think, that really gets the contract that high. I'd say if his
Yeah.
offense wasn't that high, you wouldn't see an $11 million price tag, which to me kind of sucks because the purpose of a defenseman is to play defense, like
Mhm.
to stop the puck from going in the net. And he can do that. But I would say that Mo Seider is probably a better defenseman than Rasmus Dahlin, just doesn't have the offense right now. Could he get it? Maybe. But he's more of a defensive guy. But I think overall, Buffalo had to do it. You can't mess with contract negotiations with someone like that, like Dahlin, especially when he's, like I said, probably one of the top 10 defensemen in the league right now.
It works out great for them too because they've got Tyus Samuelson locked up for the next UFA until 29-30 season at a reasonable 4.2 million. You got Connor Clifton locked up for the next 3 years. And then you've got flexibility with the rest. You got Yoki Haru, that they're probably going to have to give him a raise here soon, if not, and pay him. Owen Power is about to become the 10.2C. not acquired the necessary amount of group for required for Group 2 RFA. They're eligible for an offer sheet, however,
Yep.
going into next season with Owen Power. So you know that he's going to require a contract. You got
Yeah.
on IR for them right now, Jack Quinn. He's got 2 years remaining on his current deal to this year and next. So there's guys that they're going to have to pay. But I think it's going to work out in a way that you're hoping this is where Detroit's situation is going to be here in the next couple of years with Seider, Edvinsson, Wallander, Johansson, whoever, Axel Sandin Pelika, like these guys where you're going to see the top tier, your top one get paid, your next guy get that middle paycheck, kind of like how Buffalo's got it with Samuelson right now. And then you kind of just play those ELCs to see what happens and start trading or pay them what you think they're worth. If not, then they walk. Hopefully, this is where we see that contract or the salary cap continue to go up.
Yeah, and I think that kind of segues us a little bit into Mo Seider, who we thought might get a contract extension this summer, and it didn't end up happening.
Yeah.
But when you see numbers like this, it kind of scares you. And I had a bunch of people today yell at me saying, that's not the player Mo Seider is. He's not that good. I get it. Seider's been in the league for 2 years. I'm not saying that's Mo Seider now.
Mhm.
I'm saying that is what Mo Seider could be. And I think it would have benefited them to sign Seider to a long-term contract this summer. But you're going to keep seeing high numbers come out because of those cap predictions that came out earlier.
Mhm.
And if Seider has a big season this season, say he puts up, I don't know, 60 points. He had 50 in his rookie season. Say he adds 10 to that, which is not beyond the imagination.
No,
Plus
especially with this revamped power play.
Yeah, plus he keeps up the defensive play that he's had. I mean, you're at least looking at it, unless you bridge him, which is possible. You could say, hey, Mo.
Which is what they did with Darlene.
Yeah, take a 3-year deal at $7.5 million or whatever and just ride that until you get your huge paycheck. And by that time, he'll make like 15 million a year or whatever. But you could probably, if you were going to say at the end of the season, and he has a season like I think he might, Mo's probably going to command, I don't know, 9.5 to 10 million. That's Makar numbers, and Makar signed 2 years ago. So the cap fluctuation and everything, but he's not going to hit that 11 this season. But I don't see why, if he has a great season, why he wouldn't be demanding 9.5 to 10 million.
Yeah, I could see him kind of going on the trajectory of a Brent Burns. Like he started kind of slow if you look at his stats year over year going back to Minnesota. But then but after he got through that ELC, things really started to click for him. And there was he had a bridge, not quite a bridge deal, but he had a 4-year deal at 3.5. Then he jumped to a 5.7, which was almost 9% of the cap hit. So do what that current math would be right now. That's where I could almost see him going, which then could take him into the monster deal, which Brent Burns, when he signed at the time, was 11% of the cap hit. I don't know. I could see it being a progression. I would not put a bridge deal at this point out of the realm of possibility with Seider knowing and taking into advantage the fact that the cap is likely going up and continuing to go up, which gives him wiggle room now for a decent payday for 2-3 years and then really capitalize once he hits that middle 20s like Darlene did.
Yeah, I think it's more of a bank on yourself kind of scenario. And that's
what you think. That.
Yeah, well, I think it's the same deal with Lucas Raymond. Lucas Raymond, if he has a monster year this season, he could sign a pretty good bridge deal to take it a little even further if he thinks that he can build off of what he's doing. But both those guys are going to need contracts. So I think those are the only two guys on the team right now in this lineup that are probably going to get longer than like a 3-4 year contract. I'm not sure there's anyone else. I mean, we've still got Jake Walman for another couple years, but again, if other defensemen are going to Grand Rapids like a Wallander and start killing it, you've got a trade chip in Jake Walman.
Yeah,
you're not going to keep all of these guys. Eventually, you're going to have to move people out. Same thing with Simon Edvinsson. He had a great preseason, and he's going to go to Grand Rapids to start the year, which we'll talk about too. But if he turns it on and gets hot and provides that offense like we saw, that's a Jake Walman replacement. Eventually, I think your top pair could be, and again, it depends on what happens with Sandin Pellikka, but your top pair could be Edvinsson and Seider, which is kind of what a lot of people are hoping it eventually becomes. So you've got pieces that are going to develop, are going to come in, are going to supplant other pieces that let you use them as trade chips to move cap off. It's neither here nor there, but Mo needs to get a contract. So either during the season or come summer, Yzerman's going to have to get him locked up.
Yeah.
Want to go to the next subject?
Sure.
All right. So Zach Aston Reese signs a 2-way 1-year, $775,000 contract and then is immediately waived. Waived and assigned to Grand Rapids. He clears waivers because he was going to, because no one picked him up after he was released from his PTO, which provides a lot of center depth to Grand Rapids. It provides a guy who has been in the league. God, it's been a while. I remember when he was coming into the league, and I think he came in out of college, and he's 29 now. Yeah. So he'll be in Grand Rapids helping the centers down there. And again, it provides call up in case you need a center. Joe Veleno goes down or whatever. You need a fourth line center. Aston Reese can come in and fill in. I think it's a good depth signing, and it's not. More importantly, what people are freaking out about, it's not blocking anyone. He's not blocking anyone. He's in Grand Rapids.
They needed an additional vet for Grand Rapids, first and foremost. But now you've got flexibility to move some guys around. So if you've got, say, Lombardi struggling on the draw, you can move him over to wing for a bit. Let him learn from Zach Aston Reese. Let him learn from Zarnik. Like, there's guys now that you can bounce off each other to help each other out and
Marco
see how things are done. Casper as well. Yeah. Danielson, if he comes up at the end of the season. But no, I wasn't upset about the signing. As soon as I saw it come through, I was like, that's probably a depth thing. And sure enough, it was. It's a 2-way deal. Clarity on the 2-way contract is that he has a different salary while in Grand Rapids versus while in Detroit. So I think it was like $300 or $330 that he makes while in Grand Rapids, and then he makes the full $775 in Detroit. So
yeah, that's another. I got an argument. People are mad. So the Red Wings fan base, very angry right now.
Over what? Well, I know partly over what.
You know what? It's over. So
sorry, his minor salary is $300,000. That's a good day.
Yeah. So Zach Aston Reese, it's a good pickup for a depth player who provides depth both to the Red Wings when needed and to the Grand Rapids Griffins, as well as a veteran presence. Fantastic.
And it doesn't mean he's your first call up because he has to clear waivers.
No issue with it at all. No issue with signing Aston Reese. My issue currently, so the Red Wings have their final roster. The final roster is set. Should I run through it? I should probably just run through it.
Go for it.
All right. So at forward, you have Dylan Larkin, Alex DeBrincat, Andrew Copp, JT Compher, David Perron, Robby Fabbri, Klim Kostin, Daniel Sprong, and it's Klim. That was confirmed, not Klim. It's Klim. Daniel Sprong, Michael Rasmussen, Christian Fischer, Lucas Raymond, Joe Veleno. On defense, you have Ben Chiarot, Shayne Gostisbehere, Justin Holl, Jake Walman, Olli Maatta, Jeff Petry, Moritz Seider. You're carrying Ville Husso, James Reimer, and Alex Lyon. That leaves you with a 12-7-3. 12 forwards, 7 defensemen, 3 goalies. Names and notable omissions. People who did not make the team right now, like game 1, they're not on the roster. Jonathan Berggren, not on the roster, which people flip the fuck out about. Simon Edvinsson, not on the roster. Elmer Soderblom, not on the roster. It was like the last 3 that were remaining because Nate Danielson was sent back to Brandon, which we knew was going to happen. It was either get 9 games or go to Brandon, and there was no reason to take play away from someone else to put him in. Now we only have 12 forwards, so we could have, but it's neither here nor there. Let him go develop. Stop freaking out about Berggren. People
stop freaking out about Danielson.
I mean, I would say that what's better? Berggren playing fourth line minutes or possibly being a healthy scratch, or playing top line minutes in Grand Rapids? What's better?
According to Derek Lalonde, the latter.
Yeah. So Lalonde was asked about it. He said his message to Berggren was just keep doing things to make you an everyday NHL type guy. It makes more sense to have him playing consistently in the AHL than possibly sitting in the NHL, which makes a ton of sense. Then people started to argue with me about money. They said, wow, he makes only $70,000 in the AHL, which I think is actually true. I think he only makes $70,000 in the AHL because he's on an ELC. But
minor salary is $70,000. Ew.
Yeah. They're like, he's going to resent the team. And if I was him, I'd hate him. I'd hate them. And I'm going into contract negotiations and I'm going to be pissed off. I'm like, it's part of the business.
Do people know how real life works? Like
that's, you signed a contract. You looked at that contract. Hopefully you read it. It's not like an iPhone terms of service. It's like something that you're working by.
And you sign a contract for your day job. Like
I'm not mad. And that you'll be back up in the NHL.
Yeah.
And
he's also waivers exempt.
Yeah.
This isn't a situation where if he was like we saw this on paper with Raymond. These are things that can happen. And he could still be up by the now. We did get picture confirmation from Grand Rapids Griffins themselves that he was there for the first practice today. So is Kosa, so several other guys you just mentioned. But we talked about it and he shut us up. Him and Veleno shut us up during the game as we were recording last week, but he had a pretty shitty preseason.
His first two games were atrocious. They were very bad.
Was not good on the puck, not good without the puck. And he was just kind of out there. It seemed like, I don't want to say maybe he took it for granted because I don't think that's the type of player that he is, but he didn't look comfortable in those first.
So if you have a test that's 4 questions and you get 2 of the questions wrong, that's a 50%. That's an F. You don't pass. So
thanks for showing up. That's basically what
he was told, go to Grand Rapids, work on your consistency, work on the little things, work on the turnovers in your defensive game because the Lyon system is a defense first system. And if you are turning the puck over and it's going in the net, that's a strike against you. So it's mostly the same season. It's mostly the same reason that Edvinsson went back down. Because Edvinsson's got some defensive stuff to work on. Yeah. Offensively, the dude was fantastic.
No, he had nothing to work on there. His breakouts, the way he was attacking.
Yeah, and he made some really good defensive moves. Like he had some shining defensive moments, but then there were lapses. And there's no doubt in my mind that Berggren and Edvinsson will probably be the first 2 defensive call-ups, but first 2 roster call-ups once someone goes down. But we don't have to freak out. And then apparently playing no rookies because we signed guys with NHL experience, it just soured the entire mood of the fan base. Everyone's very disappointed. They said this is now going to be a garbage season because Yzerman filled the team with bets to try to push for the playoffs. And that's not it. And he said that's not it several times. We're deep. We've got experience. If there are guys that look like they should be on the roster, even though they're younger and they look like they should be on the roster, but other guys beat them out, that's called depth. That is something we haven't had for 6+ years. It's going to be okay. I understand that people are going to overreact, but today, Twitter is normally one of the more level-headed places for hockey.
It's been taken over by a cesspool of people.
It's becoming Facebook, which is the worst. Don't be a hockey Facebook person. It'll be fine. And the roster we have now, it works. It's balanced. There's offense and defense on each line. There's guys in there that are special teams specialists, like a Christian Fischer, who is a PK guy. You've got guys who had big preseasons. Michael Rasmussen, huge preseason. Daniel Sprong, huge preseason.
Nope.
Like JT Compher, Joe Veleno picked it up. And coach said that same thing about Veleno. As long as his bones have stopped being made out of glass.
Here's the difficult part for a lot of folks, and sometimes me included. Like, there was no injuries that we are aware of.
Nope.
Of guys coming in hurt or guys leaving the preseason hurt.
No,
the only
full
one
practice
out there that I can think of off the top of my head is Robby Fabbri. And I think he was only pulled out for precautionary reasons, and he was back a couple days later.
Yeah.
Because right there, that's usually how we banked on guys like Raymond, Berggren getting into the lineup and
because we
winning
were
the
old.
spot, but also falling into one. We
were old, Ryan. That's why we had old guys get hurt. We're not old anymore besides David Perron. That's about it. We have 2 guys that are 30 or older, or 3 guys that are 30. Nope, 4.
Huh?
4 guys that are 30 or older.
1 on forward, and then 1, 2, 3 on defense.
5. Holy shit. We've got 5 guys that are over 30.
Yeah, our defense has gotten older because of the moves that were made, but
but it's fine. And the 3 goalies thing, like people are freaking out about carrying 3 goalies. We have to. Until Tampa figures out what the hell they're going to do to replace Vasilevsky, who's going to be out for at least 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you waived Alex Lyon today, immediately picked up. If you waived James Reimer today, immediately picked up. So you're not trying to give away things for free. So you need to carry 3 goalies. Now, what sucks about that is one of them is not going to get a lot of play time. And I mean, that's just the way it goes. But I mean, you got to do what you got to do to ensure that you're not losing assets for nothing, while fielding a roster that is NHL capable. And we've got NHL level guys on every single line now. And when is the last time we could say that?
Since before this shit show started?
Yeah, on defense and up
probably
front.
The last season at the Joe. But I don't even know if I should count that because I didn't make the playoffs that year.
So I think we all need to take a chill pill, cool down just a little bit, lower the temperature, look at the lineup, and just breathe.
And that's not to say stop being excited over the young players that aren't on the roster right now. Like,
development happens at both levels. They're not going to stop developing.
Yeah, we talked about this recently. You still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 expiring contracts next season at forward. Raymond's getting a new contract, obviously. Rasmussen likely is too. Sprong, depending on how he played, could too. Fischer to be determined. Joe Veleno to be determined. So you've got at least 3, maybe 4 if someone else gets maybe possibly traded, spots at forward that are going to open up. You've got 2 expiring contracts on defense. That's where it's going to be a little bit trickier. But the fun part about it is that, yeah, you see a lot of modified no trade clauses there, but it doesn't mean that none of these guys can be traded.
Yeah, so, and for those of you that took my quiz today, I had posted 4.
Posted a quiz?
Yeah, whatever. 4 projected wars of 4 teams in our division. One of them was us.
Mm-hmm.
And here are the answers. So Buffalo, their forward WAR right now is a 7.6, and their defensive WAR is a 2.8. Ottawa's forward WAR is a 9.2, and their defense WAR is a 2.2. Tampa's forward WAR is a 10.7, and their defense is a 2.8. Detroit's forward WAR is a 10.9, and their defense is a 4.3. That's without Berggren. That is without Simon Edvinsson. That's without Elmer Soderblom. That is the roster as it stands right now. We project better than Tampa. We project better than Buffalo. We project better than Ottawa. It's just, we're all going to be close. And that's without Vassy. Like, that's with Vassy. Like, without Vassy, Tampa's pretty screwed. I feel like the first 2 months are going to be real rough for them because they're not going to have anyone to bail them out. Jonas Johansson is going to be their starting goaltender, which is rough, like real rough. And Buffalo better hope Devin Levi is the second coming of Dominic Hasek.
Yep.
Because the panic has already set in, and Elliot Friedman basically already said today in 32 Thoughts that the Red Wings are bad. They're going to be bad. They're not going to be better than Ottawa. They're not going to be better than Buffalo. They'll just be better than Montreal, which is like saying that the Pee Wee hockey team down the street is going to be better than Montreal. I mean, they've got nothing. They're tanking the season. So let's, again, take a step back, look at the roster, look at it on paper, look at what happened in preseason, the individual guys. The team is better. The team is balanced. Newsy likes the team. We also got news that Ville Husso is going to be the starting goalie on Thursday's game. Malone says they anticipate him to carry most of the weight of the starter this season.
Which is no surprise.
No, if they can take 10 games off him, great. Take 10 games off of him, let him rest, let him compose himself, not get hurt, and just lighten the workload because this will be his second full season as a starter.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan, before we go to break, when we come back and we talk about the lines at practice and going forward into game 1, do you have anything to say?
Just calm down. Like, we haven't played a game yet. This is a completely different roster from last season. Like, everyone's healthy. Big win. You brought in players that know how to win, that have been in playoff situations, that have been to a Stanley Cup and won a Stanley Cup. You brought in one of the top goal scorers over the last 5 seasons in Alex DeBrincat. Let's see how it goes. Like, they're scoring goals in the preseason. I get it. It's preseason. But we do tend to see that translate pretty well in terms of how things can go in the regular season. I'm a little bit worried about that top line, but we'll touch on that here in a minute.
Yep. So what we're going to do is take a quick break for a word from DraftKings and whatever YouTube decides to throw in there, I think. And then we'll be right back to talk about the lines at practice today and the expectations going into game 1. So we'll be right back after a word from our sponsors. We're back with another week of football, and DraftKings Sportsbook is keeping us in on the NFL action with great offers every single game day. New customers can bet $5 and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Throw 5 down on any of this week's epic matchups to walk away an instant winner. And DraftKings isn't stopping there. All customers can take advantage of 2 new offers every game day this September. Football's more fun when you're in on the action. So download the app now and sign up with code THPN. New customers can bet just $5 and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, with code THPN. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPENY or text HOPENY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort. Licensee partner Golden Nugget Lake Charles. 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/football terms for eligibility, terms and responsible gaming resources. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. And we're back, and we are going to round out the episode by going into game 1. Also, I wanted to throw in that Coach Lyon said that having guys with more experience this season is a positive, and they feel like they're ahead of where they were last season. And they should, because they got guys that know what they're doing. And like we said, on paper, the team is better. So Max Boltman tweeted out the lines this morning. Forward lines at practice were DeBrincat, Larkin, Perron, Fabbri, Compher, Raymond, Rasmussen, Copp, Sprong, Kostin, Veleno, and Fischer. That bottom line is going to beat people up.
They looked fantastic Saturday.
That is a mean line. Like, Christian Fischer will get in your face. Klim Kostin will get in your face.
Veleno's going to skate around you.
Lyon was asked this morning. I don't know if it was this morning. They just posted the interview like at 8:30 or whatever. But Perron, it sounds like, will start on the top line game 1. They like his connection. He said he liked his chemistry with Dylan Larkin.
I think that was a long time coming. They tried Raymond. I'm a little bit bummed about it because we heard nothing about his size, and I didn't feel like I think he needs to take some notes from Perron a little bit on how to properly really go at it and use it to his advantage to open things up, because
it'll take him a minute to get used to it.
Yeah, because it just seemed like that's what the Larkin and DeBrincat line and Raymond, that's kind of what they lacked, is when the puck got to the corner, they were chasing a lot. And no one really was able to get in there and get it back. DeBrincat did it on occasion. He was just he's shifty out there, and he's able to do some quick stick lifts and move the puck back around on the boards. But Perron, you know what you're getting. He is going to go in there. He's going to hit somebody. He's going to cause some disruptions, but he's super hockey smart. And he always seems to be, more often than not, in the right place at the right time to try to make a player disrupt the defensive team's breakout to try to keep their offensive momentum going. So I think I'm hoping it works out really well.
Well, I think the plus to it, though, like Newsy said, that analytically Larkin and Perron do very well together as well.
Yeah.
And Perron will be the guy that goes into the corner. Like we said, one of the most elite puck protecting players in the league.
He's a great passer.
And he's a good, like you said, good setup guy. So I think that's a solid top line. The only thing that sucks is that Perron is slow. So Larkin's going to fly into the zone.
No offense to him, but
wait a minute. No, he knows it. I mean, he's the slowest guy on the team by a mile, but
he's lost, because he said 8 pounds or 10 pounds this offseason.
Sure, maybe he can increase his speed by like 2 miles an hour. but Larkin's going to fly into the zone with Cat, and Perron's going to be at center ice trying to
that
catch
could
up.
work out great with him coming through the middle on
The trailer.
Because he still has a great shot.
Yeah. So second line, and the second line I think is where it gets interesting, because you look at Fabbri, Compher, and Raymond. JT Compher looked fantastic in preseason. It looks like there's going to hopefully be a lot of offense there in JT Compher, but he was also defensively responsible.
Very.
What happens there is Robby Fabbri looked fantastic in preseason as well.
Lyon.
And that in that last preseason game, Lucas Raymond looked really good. Now, he didn't bury anything, but he had a ton of great looks, and he was making stuff happen. So that's a good second line, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't think Fabbri was going to start on the second line. I didn't think he was going to start top six, but he worked his way into it.
I like that balance. And really, Fabbri, that's kind of where they've been trying to make him live since he came over from St. Louis, is that middle six. And I feel like he's really been able to make a name for himself, especially on the second pairing. I mean, I think ideally you want him on the third line, but we'll have to see how things shake out over the year, if anyone forces their way back on like a Burgers, and just see how things go next year. But that is a guy, even though not overly big, is like a Perron in that he is going to go get that puck and he's going to throw the body to do it. Compher's pretty sound. He floats out there, but in a good way. He knows, you can tell when to turn it on and be aggressive and when to kind of just let things play out to try to make that defensive or offensive steal. And then Raymond, you've got a guy with like him and Fabbri, I think are going to click very well with the way Fabbri, how aggressive he is. You could say he's like a diet Larkin in a way, that the way that he's trying to
Larkin
make
light.
playmaking. Yeah, there we go. So I think it could be a fun line. We'll have to wait and see, but it's going to be on Raymond to really get himself comfortable, let things happen and let it go, because he could end up racking up the assists with Fabbri out there.
Yeah, he needs to live that Elsa life and let it go. So third line of Michael Rasmussen, Andrew Copp, and Daniel Sprong.
Big.
Now, again, it's big. Ras has taken shit from no one this season. We've already seen that. And he's scoring goals too. So Michael Rasmussen is a guy that I think, and we had talked about, like, what are your expectations for him? And I might fully expect Michael Rasmussen to have a 20-goal season. If you're going to play him on special teams, you're going to play him on that third line. And if he gets, 13 to 15 minutes on that third line, it's going to be big for him. Andrew Copp, Andrew Copp is going to be 100% healthy and back to form. Daniel Sprong's got a bomb. So there's going to be a lot of apples on that line.
Yep.
And again, if Sprong's a 22, 25 plus goal scorer, like I'd say 25 might be a high for him this season, maybe. I think that's a line, again, that's going to score a lot. There's going to be a lot of offense there. But that's a line that's got size. That's a line that Sprong's not afraid to hit people at all. So they'll beat you up. They'll take your lunch money.
He's only 6 feet tall.
He plays like he's about 6'5".
He looks huge.
He's bulky. He's a bulky dude.
So, no, I think that could be a really fun and difficult line to play against. Like, you look at how this bottom six is kind of set up. Everyone can skate, and everyone will put the body on you. Maybe not so much Copp, but that's not necessarily a bad thing, because if you got your center going in there throwing the body nonstop, I mean, who knows what could happen?
You become a defensive liability.
Yeah. So, but you know that Raz is going to go in there. You know that Sprong is going to go in there. And Sprong, I think he's like a floating striker in soccer. Like, he is at all points of the ice and he has free reign, but he covers down on his area still very well. I'm excited to see how they end up utilizing him, especially when it comes to the power play unit, because they had a beautiful set play where whoever was at center just got it back. Sprong was able to tip it out to the point on defense, and Sprong just kind of dropped back and split the defense for a one-timer goal. Like, the shots there, you put him and Raz together, because Raz, I think we've started to see more playmaking come from him. And now you add Copp to the mix. This could be a pretty damn good producing line for you guys.
Yeah, you put Rasmussen right in front of the net, put his ass in the goalie's face. Mm-hmm. You have Copp, who's a great facilitator, and you got Sprong with the bomb. That's like a perfect third line. And those are guys that are all going to play above third line ability.
And we know Raz hasn't lost that magic in front when he's tight in front of the net from going back to juniors. So
Yeah.
that could work out great.
Yeah, I think that in a pinch that could function as a second line. Honestly, they'll play
Potentially.
above. They'll play like those are all mid-6 guys, and we've seen Rasmussen play on the top line without any issues. So
Yeah.
it's an exciting. You're looking at an opportunity maybe down the line where when you do move a guy like Nate Danielson in, or you move a guy like Marco Kasper in, Copp's going to slide to the wing, which is okay as well because he's a good facilitator, and then you don't have to worry about defense there.
Yeah, we saw that
But
already this preseason
yeah,
with Danielson in particular, with Copp.
yeah, solid third line. Fourth line of Kostin, Veleno, Fischer, like we said, that's the beat you up line. Veleno turned it on in preseason. Hopefully, he can consistently do that because what we need is goals from Veleno. We need offense from Veleno. We already know he's pretty responsibly defensively. We need the goal scoring, and we saw it. We saw the offense come alive in preseason. He just needs to carry that in and do it consistently. And Newsy said the same thing. You want Joe Veleno, who plays the first part of the year, to play the entire year because that's a Veleno that you thought you were getting. Now, is Veleno destined to be a fourth line player? He's probably destined to be bottom 6. But if he can be a bottom 6 guy that gets you 15 goals and he gets you maybe 25 assists and he plays responsible fourth line center, that's good. That's better than what he's been doing.
This fourth line, and we've talked about it quite a bit, reminds me of what you see with Vegas. A fourth line that can score, but they're also going to hit the shit out of you. And right now on depth charts for Cap Friendly, it's Carrier, Nick Waugh, and Keegan Kolazar. But you look at their size of 6'2", 6'4", 6'2", and then you look at Detroit's current fourth line of 6'3", 6'1", 6'2". So guys that are big, that have some size to them, not only just height but weight. Veleno's actually the only one under 200 out of all these people that I just highlighted. That's going to be the biggest one, is that, as Lyon always says, how can these guys be hard to play against? What can they do defensively without the puck to make your life hell? And this line, we even saw that. I get it. The lines that we saw for Toronto the other night were mostly majority AHL players. Not that great. But when this line was on the ice, for one, they got a goal. And for two, they suffocated Toronto in what I was able to watch when they were on the ice. That is what you hope to see from them going into the season. And I think that's part of the reason why we see right now Berggren is one of those guys. And I mean, you could slot a Soderblom onto here if he ups his defensive potential. Berggren right now, I don't think would work on this line.
No, and you don't want him playing fourth line. He's
No.
This is your grinder line, is what it is.
Yeah. And they're going to make life hell. They're going to hit you. They're going to skate all over you. Are they going to always control the puck? Probably not. But when they do, they can still be dangerous enough to do something with it, as we saw.
They can move it.
So now, I mean, this is a line that if they're out there against the top line somehow against New Jersey on Thursday night, you're not going to be overly concerned because you know what Fischer can do. We've seen that already from his past and what he prides himself on as being a defensive forward. Veleno, we know that that's part of his blood. Kostin, to be seen from what we understand of him, but I think that he'll be able to bring that edge. If they're putting pressure on, wearing down the opposition, boom, now you bring on DeBrincat and Larkin, that could lead to goals. You know, it's possible. Not saying it's easier said than done, but that's what you hope for with a fourth line like this.
Yeah, plus Kostin's going to punch you in the mouth. I mean, he got real mad a few times, like very mad, where I'm surprised he didn't jump out of the box and go right back to fight because it was getting pretty intense. And he's a guy who, when we talked about him when they signed him, he's got really good finishing numbers. Like he can put the puck in the net given the opportunity to do so. So that's a line that could also provide some offense. That's what we talked about, just having depth and having pieces both defensively and offensively up and down the lineup to make a complete team. As to where if you look at a Buffalo, it's a glass cannon type situation. All their forwards, or most of their forwards, are really good offensively, but are terrible defensively. And if they have a bad offensive night, they're going to get their shit kicked in, is what's going to end up happening. So you want, like we talked about Vegas, you build the top to bottom, even lines that can all chip in offensively and defensively, and you build a complete team. And we don't have the superstars. Absolutely. But Vegas, like we said, you got Eichel, who, I mean, not a superstar, but an elite level player. If DeBrincat goes back to a 40-goal guy, that's an elite player right there. You got Dylan Larkin. Dylan Larkin, who people love to say Larkin's not an elite player. Stats will tell you otherwise. Dylan Larkin is a very, very, very good center. And maybe you'll call him borderline elite or whatever. But Dylan Larkin and Alex DeBrincat can lead this team. And then you just
unless
spread
something
it
goes
throughout the
horribly
rest.
wrong, Dylan Larkin is still arguably a top line center.
Absolutely. You want to run through defensive pairings? We all know Walman Seider. I mean, that's it.
I actually didn't see the defensive pairings for today, so this will be new to me right now.
Yeah, you're blocked by Ansar. So second pairing that I hate. Ben Chiarot and Jeff Petry. I think they're maybe banking on the fact that they played together in Montreal, but
it's not a good thing to bank on.
No, I don't want. Even the way Ben Chiarot looked, even though he had a goal, which might have been a mistake, still didn't look good in preseason. I'm gonna iffy that middle line. I don't like it, and I don't think it'll last very long. Third pair of Olli Maatta and Shayne Gostisbehere.
Yeah, I think you need to switch the pairings. Like that Chiarot Petry, if you're putting them together, they need to be your third pair.
Yeah. But the notable is that Justin Holl is a scratch currently. Now, I don't think he played bad. I think Ben Chiarot was worse.
Holl didn't look that great.
I mean, he didn't look bad.
No.
That's the thing. Ben Chiarot got lead foot burned. This is where we're going to struggle going through the season is like, you signed Justin Holl to 3x3 and now you're going to make him your 7th D. It's not going to sit great with a lot of people. People that are already antsy about Yzerman. So something's going to have to give because I would have done Walman Seider. I would have done Gostisbehere Holl. I would have done Maatta Petry, and I would have made Chiarot my extra. That would have been my defensive lineup. And it grades out better on the War roster builder than what's currently happening.
Yeah. If Petry and Chiarot are coming out as your second pairing, I don't think it's going to last long. I mean, I think we could end up seeing a situation with Seider and Chiarot last year where in theory it seemed like a good idea, but like Petry, you can tell he was there, but in a good way, I thought for the preseason. Didn't really see anything where it was, what are you doing? Why aren't you in position? But you could tell that there's not a lot of speed there. Chiarot was there. He had a beautiful goal the other night, but more often than not, there's a few opportunities, especially when him and Holl were playing together, where he just continues to over pursue.
Yeah.
And it leaves someone wide open almost every single time. Yep. So maybe in this situation, Petry's going to is your more stay-at-home type guy. And that lets Chiarot kind of go be a mercenary out there. But I don't know. It scares me. I think Maatta and Ghost, that's going to be a fun pair. But I'm a little surprised that with Holl out, like now you've got a double lefty third pairing. But I mean, I don't know. I think Maatta, the reason I really like the Maatta Ghost pairing is it reminds me of Maatta with Hronek.
Yeah.
And those two together were fantastic. And I think Gostisbehere is very similar style of play to Phil Hronek. And I think this could really be beneficial. I mean, it could turn Ghost into a trade chip. It could just make him be a driving force to us putting pucks in the net. I don't know. Either way, I think that could be a solid. We have 2 out of 3 solid pairings, in my opinion.
What I worry about that second pair, the Chiarot Petry pair, is the speed.
Yes, there's none.
There's none. There's negative speed there. It's like they're skating backwards, which I guess
Chiarot's isn't awful. I'll give him a little bit there. But because he overplays more often than not, it eliminates any ability to get back.
Yeah. So I don't think that pair, if that is the opening night pair, I mean, that was the late afternoon practice. So 4 hours ago, that was the pair, was Chiarot and Petry. The two guys that, I mean, Petry still produces offensively, has some defensive lapses. He's getting older. He's not getting younger. And Chiarot, who we saw bleed Moritz Seider dry until he was moved to Jake Walman's pair. That's one that I worry about. And I think there are better ways to do it And I would like to see that switch before tomorrow or before Thursday, because we still have some time. Today is Monday and we don't play till Thursday.
Yeah.
So, but in any case, that is what it looks like going into game one against the New Jersey Devils.
This could be a tough game. And by tough, I mean very tough. Like, this is where you're going to see this is going to be the only downfall, I think, for how this roster is built for Detroit right now, is very two-way minded in terms of most of the forwards on this team. The offensive production, like, a lot of guys are sound, yes, but you're not getting attacked, or you're not attacking with what New Jersey has with Meyer, Hughes, Bratt, Fischer, Palat, Tyler Toffoli. Like, there is Alexander Holtz, Dawson Mercer. There is some dangerous puck controlling forwards on this New Jersey team, and it's going to be a hell of a first game.
But Vegas doesn't agree, Ryan. The Red Wings right now are plus 210 on the money line to beat the New Jersey Devils. So
plus bad.
Plus is bad, but not as bad as I thought it would be.
Fair, okay.
It's so right now the Devils are minus 258. I thought it would be like a plus 500 because, like you said, the Devils are a really good team, but the margin,
they are a wagon.
The margin is not as big as I thought it was going to be. So Vegas is hot on the Devils, but not as cool on the Red Wings as I thought they were going to be.
Oh.
But we have hockey on Thursday, and we will be there. Like we said, we will be at the home opener. I still need to get parking, but we will be at the home opener.
Oh,
yeah.
See, I plan on trying to be down there early enough to be at Harry's. So
you have season tickets, don't you?
Yeah, but you still have to pay separate for parking, which it's actually not cheaper to buy them through them.
I thought you got parking with season tickets.
No, you have to buy it. It's completely separate.
That's stupid.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, we will be there, and we take our big Twitter family picture in front of the team store. But if you'd like to say hi to us, reach out to us and let us know. Reach out on Twitter. We're on Blue Sky. We're on Threads. We're everywhere.
What the fuck is Blue Sky?
Blue Sky. So Jack, who sold Twitter to the Elon Musk, made a new app called Blue Sky. That's basically Twitter. So he's like making it again. That's what he's doing, and it's cool. So you need an invite. We've got some invites. You need a Blue Sky invite. Let us know. But we're on Blue Sky. Okay. So yeah, hit us up. Let us know if you're going to be there, and if you want to say hi and get a picture and put it on social media.
You bringing stuff to give out?
Maybe. I had to see if I got stickers left. We'll see. But yeah, final thoughts, Ryan.
Final thoughts. Red Wings hockey. Real Red Wings hockey is a couple days away. I think actually Tyler will be here. Yeah, game's Thursday. Tyler's going to be here Thursday with his dad and his buddy. I think B Case is coming into town Thursday to stay the night as well. So we're going to have a party to watch the Wings game Thursday night unless we go out and watch it somewhere. So that'll be fun. But yeah, no, let's calm down a little bit. Take a deep breath. Enjoy what's about to take place. Hopefully they don't shoot the bed out the gate, because hey, if they do suck starting out the gate, a lot of people's wishes are going to get answered, and they're going to have there's going to be some roster changes that'll likely happen. And some of these young guys might end up making their way right in very quickly. We'll see what happens. But either way, it's exciting. I like the way this roster is looking going into the start of the season. And I just hope that they stay healthy. So on that note, let's go Red Wings. Already ran 33.
Yeah, ditto. I'm very excited to get hockey back because I'm done watching children's shows all day. I don't want to
get hockey back. Did you see their wonderful printout T-shirt thing that says "Wooing is bad"?
You mean like the? Oh no, I didn't. Because I have one.
Like, things not to do during a hockey game. Who sent that to me? Was it Tyler?
Don't woo. Please don't woo at LCA this season. But you can follow me online at Bring the Wing. You can follow the Grindline Podcast online at Grindline Pod. We give a shout out to the Hockey Podcast Network and thank them for hosting us. We also give a shout out to Vintage Detroit, which is the only place you should get your Detroit jerseys from and worked on. If you use the promo code Grindline on Bring Hockey Back, you'll get 12%. Use that same promo code on Howie's Hockey Tape, you get 10%. You can check out our merch on redbubble.com by searching the Grindline, and you can sub to us on YouTube and turn on the notifications because some crazy stuff might end up happening between now and opening night, or the beginning of the season, there will just be some smaller updates that I'll end up doing and throwing up on YouTube when they do happen. But that's going to do it for us tonight. So for Ryan, I am Greg. You stay classy, Hockey Town.